Hi, Julia Watts here, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to create a frame using some single flower stamps from the Floral Curios collection from Sentimentally Yours, and we're going to do some masking as well. So we're going to just use the Beautiful Blooms A5 set, which is part of the new collection from Sentimentally Yours, and it contains 33 stamps, various different sizes of several different blooms. And so to begin with, what you do is you decide which blooms you want to use and you create a mask for them. So I've chosen that one, that one, that one and that one. So those four, roughly kind of similar sized stamps. And in my stamping and I've created masks. I've used woodware masket sheets. And I've actually got two of the daisies and one of each of the others. So you stamp on the paper side, and then you've got a carrier sheet that's the shiny side that it goes back on. So in my stamping platform, I have a piece of super smooth watercolour card from Sentimentally Yours, and it's cut using the Debossed double stitched squares. So you've got that lovely embossed detail around the edges, and you can see from the guide here that it's 12.5 inches 12.5 centimeters square, which is just under 5 inches square. So to begin with, we're going to position our sunflowers, and I want to actually stay within the square. So let's grab my stamp, I think what we're at. So we're going to put the daisy in each corner, so you can do that straight away. And we've got the folded bit there, so I'm not going to have the folded bit in each corner. This is the one that's going to be in the foreground, because this is the one that I'm stamping first. So this one will be always in its entirety, whether the others are overlapping or not. Let's stamp this first, make sure that's right into the corner. It's more about positioning rather than precision stamping here. And we're using Nocturne Versafine Clair as per. Good detail ink pad. I'm going to stamp that first in the corner. And then we're going to move that over and we're going to stamp that again in the next corner. A lot of repetition. I find this sort of stamping quite relaxing. If you want to do a circular frame, then you can use the Mama Makes Rotate Mate, which will help you do circles, but we're just going to do a square frame around the edge of this square die cut. That's number 2. So I'm going to swivel it again, pick it up, doesn't want to be picked up. My mates are having a chat. 3. This is what stamping platforms are brilliant for, as well as if you've made a mistake, but actually getting things in exactly the same place, so making your designs symmetrical. One more. Don't forget, you don't have to colour in if you don't want to. I will be doing so. Okay. Clean up a bit. And then we're going to position the pansy in the middle of each daisy. So we're going to, daisy, yes it is a daisy. I don't know why I'm thinking sunflower. So that's going to go here in the middle-ish. Okay, so we're going to just complete, do the same sort of thing, but what we can do is do multiple stamping in a second. It's important to get your corners sorted first of all. Then we're going to go for our pansy. Like so. And then what we can do is, before we move around, just so I can see where I'm going. Actually, no, I do need to move around. What am I about? Let's move it this way. Let's go the other way around. So the pansy's going to go there. And we're going to put the other flowers either side. So let's do our masking. Just means we don't have to turn so often. Talk amongst yourselves while I try and get the back off this. This is a new mask. There we go. Oh God, I think. Yes, I have. Have I? Yes, I have. I've got one arm of it anyway. There we go. Goodness knows how I'm going to get that back on the carrier sheet. So obviously this flower helps us because we've got this fold here, and when you cut your masks out, try to cut them so they're slightly inside the line, and that means when you actually stamp on top that you're going to get an image. The next image is going to be closer. I don't know if that makes sense, because there is a slight fall off. There is a slight lip. It's ever so slightly higher. I don't want to get dirty marks. Okay, and then we're going to put the mask on this side as well. Not a good thing to do while you're hot. Pull. And that's off that one. And again, we can position this one first. Doesn't have to be perfect. The thing is, if you don't use a mask and then you do overlap your flowers, it's not going to look as good as if you actually do try to mask. It might not completely stick if the ink's still wet. Then we're going to mask up the pansy. So I'm not actually going to use, although I've got these two masks here, I'm not actually going to use them because I don't need to. So the pansy is going to be one of the foreground stamps as well, flowers as well. And then the rose and the blossom of some sort, I'm not sure what sort of flower it is going to be sat behind. Here we go again. Come on. Most of the video is taken up with me trying to get the back off. We can get our pansy on. Okay, so on this side we're going to be stamping the pansy, and on this side we're going to be stamping the other two flowers. So we've got the rose. So at this point we don't have to actually go for the big rose if we don't want to. So I think I might actually go down the size because I'm not using the mask. So going down the size is this one here. Like so. And then I was going to use that one. Do I want to use that one? It's quite big, isn't it? Let's use this one instead, I think. Oh, that's quite a nice rose there, isn't it? I might use that one instead of this one. No, I'm going to stick with that one. Yeah, stick with that one. Too many choices, and you've got 33 stamps. It's very difficult to choose. So, yeah, let's go for this big one. It doesn't have to be in proportion, does it? Absolutely not. Let's have that one there. Like so. Okay. So we can pick those up there. Make sure we're right over there. I might put another magnet in there just because I can. And then we can stamp all three together. Obviously when we're on the last run, we won't need to do the pansy because the pansy's had an extra stamping already. But we will need to move the masks each time. So there's our pansy. Let's move it over slightly. And then whatever that blossom is, I have no idea, on the rose. You do need to press harder by where the mask edges are, because it, like I say, it's slightly thicker there, so you do need to press a bit harder. We can have a look, see where we're at. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So then we're going to move it. We'll move it round in a minute. We need to take our masks off first. Poke tool. So we leave this one in place because we need that one there for when we stamp in between here. So we take this one off carefully. And we'll pop it on this side here. Again, looking for that folded petal. Like so. Give it a press with the clean side of the kitchen roll. And then we need to take the mask off the pansy, if we can get it. And, oh, we're going this way, aren't we? Honestly, what am I on? We'll take that daisy off in a sec. Right, so we're going here. And we need to put that one over here. There's no point putting it where we haven't got a pansy. What am I like? Where am I going? Oh, I've got that one there. That one, I've took the wrong one off, that's what I did. Because I've gone the other way around. I normally go clockwise and I think I've gone anti-clockwise. So as long as you kind of sort it out, doesn't matter, does it? So that's not going on right. That's not on right at all, but it doesn't matter on that side because I've already stamped that side. Right, this is where we want it. Got there in the end. How not to do it. But you know, if you go wrong, it's a piece of card, isn't it? It doesn't matter. You just throw it away and start again. Or turn it over if you can. You learn from your mistakes. If you do things perfectly all the time, you won't learn anything, will you? So remember where you are. So that's down that end. So we're stamping a pansy here, and we're going to stamp the other 2 stamps in between that bit there. So we can go with that there. Yes, we can. Okay. So, got there in the end. 10 minutes later. I made quite a mess of that stamp on that one. I'm a messy crafter. Okay, so we're stamping the pansy. Hopefully that magnet's not going to interfere. And then that blossom thing. We're asking what it is. Should we call it a cherry blossom? I think we'll call it that. And the rose. That's obviously a rose. Remember where you've got the shelf of the masking sheet. Just give a little bit more attention there. Take your time. That was good. Right, so this time we've got to move the mask here. So move it into the right place. So we're taking that one off, and then we're going over here. I need to just move it so I can see better. So you can reuse the masks over and over. I tend to put mine back on the carrier sheet if I can, and then store them in the back of the packaging for the stamp, and then I know where it is all the time. I used to keep them in a bag, but then I can't remember where the bag is, and so you end up having to do them again. So we mask the pansy. A little bit. Do. They are reasonably easy to cut out, just if you take your time. So now we've got to go around this way at the top. We can have a magnet just there, and we're going to do our last stamping of a pansy here. So this is the last time we need this stamp on here, and then obviously the other 2 are going to go there. If you're struggling with your image being dark enough, you might need to re-ink your ink pad, because they don't stay juicy forever. They are very, very good ink pads, but remember you can get re-inkers, and you'll find that on my website. Okay, so the pansy. If you're going to go wrong, you're going to go wrong on the last turn. It's always the way. It's like when you practice your sentiments on a separate piece of card, and then you go and do it on the real thing and you make a mess of it. It's always the case. So I'm just giving it extra press. Remember where that lip is. That's good. Right, so the pansy's coming off, so you don't need it anymore. And then we're just going to have one more move of the masks. So this one. It's looking good, isn't it? Obviously you've got magnets all over it, so let's see where we're at. Actually, I need to pay more attention to this side, but that folded petal is genius, because it helps you figure out where your other petals are. Without that, you'd be struggling. And then we want the pansy. Actually, I might just reposition that just a little bit, because I think I'm too close to the edge. And we don't want that last one to be rubbish, do we, really? Well, see, if it, like I say, if you're gonna mess it up, you're gonna mess it up on the last one. It's that law of that person that we always say, which I don't want to say. Okay. Right, I think we're good now. That'll do. It doesn't matter about that bit. So we need to be on the side, remember, because that's where our other two flowers are. Push it right way up to the edge. And we can pop that one there. That one can go there, that one can go there. Okay. Dirty marks. And final stamping. Doesn't matter which way up it is because all sides of the square are exactly the same. So you haven't got that angst of thinking which way up things are. So again, where that lip is, give it a good press. So now we'll fetch our masks off and attempt to roughly put them on the carrier sheet so we can use them again. It's always, the reveal's always really cool. I mean, obviously you've seen the gradual reveal every time we turned a corner, but it is really cool. And then you get the pleasure of colouring it in now, which I'll start and then I'll carry on and then I'll show you what it looks like finished. That's a pansy. And I've got two masks that I haven't used. So I could do another one where if I wanted to, I could put the rose in the corner and I could perhaps, I don't know, put that blossom in the middle there, and I could put a single daisy either side. You don't have to use all the flowers. It's endless, the possibilities with this stamp set of the different combinations that you can do, which I think is brilliant. I mean, the more variety that you can get from a stamp set, the more value for money it is. And think about your tags as well. You could make a design on your tags. So on your tags, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, does it? I mean, none of this needs to be symmetrical, but it's just, like I say, I find this sort of stamping really therapeutic. I think I put this, that's the wrong stamp on there, that would throw me. That's the rose that goes there. Okay. So while we're stamping, let's pop ourselves a sentiment in the centre because we can. I mean, this is big enough, so you could, if you wanted to, you could do, you could cut another square out of perhaps black card and do another mat and then actually raise your sentiment. But this is going to be a relatively flat card. And we've got all these sentiments here. We've got loads of sentiments. Sending sunshine your way, that's quite a nice one, isn't it? To someone very special. Birthday wishes with love. I like that, with love on your birthday. But I think perhaps we might want something else. I think I'm going to die cut another square and have it sat up higher. So I'll do my die cutting separate. So we could have, let's see, that's a bit big. Could have one of those like that, so that could be in black, and then this could be in your watercolour card. and then we could still get in. We could still get in on your special day. Best wishes. Have a lovely day. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'll do that. I'll cut those out. But what we'll do first of all is we'll start doing a little bit of colouring in, and then I can sort that out as well. Finish that. So let me grab some pens. Okay, so I've grabbed some pens, and all of these pens are from set 3 of the watercolour blending brush pens. I'm not going to use the green because we don't actually have any leaves. I forgot that. So let's start. First of all, we'll start with this dark blue. And I'm just going to put a little bit of dark blue on the daisies. Remember, these can be fictional flowers. They don't have to be flowers that you've necessarily seen. That's the beauty of stamping. You can do them whatever colours you want to. There's a little bit of a fold there, like this. I'm just going to do one of each, and then I'll continue to do everything off camera. Okay, so that's the dark blue, like so. And then we're going to take this lighter blue, which is deceiving really. It is much, much lighter than that. That's why it's a good idea to do a swatch. And we're going to blend pen with pen. So we're just going to take the light blue and just blend that with itself, or with the dark blue. And that is the beauty of the pens, but more importantly, using the right cardstock. You can have all these techniques that you know and all these ways of using your pens, but if your cardstock isn't the right cardstock, then you're scuppered. It doesn't work. It's very disappointing when it doesn't work. And it will continue to blend until the ink is dry. It continues working after you've worked it, if that makes sense. Need to be careful that I don't smudge the ink. So it does stay wet for a while. Okay. So this is pen with pen. Very therapeutic. It is for me anyway. I'm not sure about you watching, but it's definitely therapeutic for me. Okay, so that's where we're at. Not difficult. Watercolouring is the easiest way to colour. Then we'll have a look at this one here. And I think what we'll do with this one is we will have... What will we have? Let's have the 2 oranges and see how we get on with those. I think this is the darkest one, yeah. Let's do a similar kind of thing. So just going into the bits of shading that we've got. Perhaps even go around the whole thing in the centre. And on that fold there. And we'll take the lighter one. And just kind of touch where we're blending. Not too sure where this, I think that goes there. So you've got a little bit of a contrast because this is more of a yellowy orange. Like that. Okay. Then I think we'll do the rose. And the rose, we're going to take Should we take this one? I really want a pink actually, so let's find a pink. And go for a dark pink. And this is from set 1. Okay. And we're going to put some onto that. Mist it with water. And we're going to watercolour the rose. In fact, I'm going to go over here, so I'm not next to the blue. I'm going to go here for now because I want to do the pansy next as well. And I want to make sure, and if you're doing that, you need to make sure that the ink is dry, or the ink is dry on the flower next to you, especially if you're using water, because otherwise you'll find the pen runs into the water. So we can come back to that in a little while and perhaps add a little bit more to it. Okay. Then on this one, the pansy, we're going to take this really dark, it's almost like a browny red, and we're going to use some of that in the inside of the beard. I think it's called a beard, this inside bit anyway. It's like a face, isn't it? And we're going to also use this light yellow, light orange. Oh no, we don't want to use the light orange. Let's use the yellow. Again from set 1. Let's use the yellow. Okay. Right, top yet produce, and then we can take our water brush. You should be able to just drag the colour so that it kind of bleeds into it. Yeah, the pigeons outside. You can work it as much as you want to. So now we've got our pansy there in the centre. Now if you're not happy with that and you think, oh, it's a little bit too dark, it's darker than I wanted it to be, what you can do is take your water and blot some of it out so that I've made that lighter now. Oh, you see? Then you can see your line art. If you're still not happy with that, and I'm actually not happy with that, what we can do is perhaps take, go onto that lighter colour, lighter orange, and use that to blend over the top. Don't do it when there's lots of water. That's better, I think. I think that's better. Okay. So I'm going to carry on colouring all of these in, and then we'll we'll finish our card off. Okay, so we're all coloured in now. Wasn't too happy with my colour choices. Obviously gone quite bright, but as soon as you pop it onto black card, it kind of pops and it works. It's a bright and cheerful card. So I've just coloured in exactly the same way, all the flowers as I said before, and then I've added the yellow, bright yellow from set 1 of the watercolour pens to just to the centres of the flowers here. I'll just hold that up so you can see a little bit closer. Okay, and I've matted it onto black card, again cut with the next size of the debossed double stitched squares. You can't quite see that because it's on black. And now we're going to do our sentiment. So we're going into the Sweetheart sentiments, and as I said, what we're going to do is we're going to have this "Have a Lovely Day" because I think that fits really nicely. And there are teeny tiny hearts on the ends of the words in the sentiment, which is really lovely, really sweet little touch to it. Now I could do the stamping platform thing, but we're going to wing it, and we're going to do it with our circle acrylic block. And these are really nice because they've got a ridge on the side of them, so they fit in your hand really nicely. And this is actually the medium size of the set. So again, going in with Nocturne VersaFine Clay. Tap, tap, tap. And see if we can get this straight-ish. Straight down, give it a press, give that ink a chance to sink into the card, because obviously we're not on a stamping platform, so we want to make sure that we stamp this really nicely. Try not to rock the stamp, just give pressure in the centre and then lift up. Really, really pretty sentiment set. So that's the Sweetheart sentiments. Now be careful because that ink is wet, but we're going to pop that onto our next size debossed double stitched squares. I have to think about that every time I say that. So just a little bit PVA. Normally I'd pop it underneath my craft sheet, which I've got a piece of MDF underneath there, but obviously we're not doing that now. We're just going to go with it, see if we can get it straight. So we're straightish. Obviously if you don't want a border that big, because this is the next size up, the black, just use your trimmer and cut a smaller border. You don't have to go for the dies if you don't want to. Then we're just going to use some 1mm foam tape. This is woodwear foam tape. I'll just do 3 ones of this. So I don't want it to be very deep. It's only a small card. This is a 6x6 card. Obviously you can just do it flat, completely flat if you want to, and it's going to fit in the post. You could even make this square smaller and have your flowers more overlapping if you wanted to. So let's see if we can get this straight in the middle. Okay, so there we are, all done. So obviously we've used watercolour blending brush pens, we've used the Floral Curios Sweetheart sentiments for the sentiment, and then we've used the beautiful blooms which we've masked off with the woodwear masket sheet to make our frame using the stamping platform, which is a really easy way to do it. And then we've used the debossed double stitch squares. So do, on my YouTube channel, do like and subscribe. It's really lovely when you do that, and leave me a lovely comment. I do love to read your comments, and I do reply whenever I can. And as I said, you'll find the products available on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk. I only ship to UK addresses, and you'll also find them at honeypotcrafts.co.uk as well. So I just need to say thank you for watching.